Most people see oysters on a plate. Very few people ever see where they come from. Today, I'm following my brother to one of Vietnam's largest floating oyster villages to see what a normal working day really looks like. It's just after 8 a.m. My brother is already waiting for us at the family dock. Today, there are 4 of us heading out to sea. We're not going fishing. We're going to visit another oyster farmer and buy today's harvest. This little boat might not look like much, but out here, it's everything. Without it, you can't get to work, or even get home. All right, let's go. One awkward fact about me, I grew up by the sea, but I still can't swim. So yeah, falling into the water isn't really part of today's plan. The first part of the trip is pretty calm. We're still inside the river, surrounded by shrimp ponds and fish farms. Many families around here make a living from aquaculture, raising shrimp, fish, oysters, whatever the water can provide. About 15 minutes later, everything starts to change. The river opens into the sea, the waves get bigger, and suddenly, the ride gets a lot more interesting. And then, the floating village finally comes into view. At first, it almost looks like a small town, but every house you see is floating on the sea. People don't come here for a holiday. This is home. Families live here every single day, only going back to the mainland when they need food, supplies, or fuel. Most of these floating houses are built with bamboo and large plastic drums underneath. They're surprisingly simple, but strong enough to survive years out here. Almost everyone here depends on the sea. Some raise fish, some grow oysters, others do both. And today, we're here because of oysters. Walking on these bamboo walkways is harder than it looks. They're narrow, they move with the waves. And if you fall, well, thousands of oysters are waiting for you underneath. This is where the oysters spend most of their lives, hidden below the surface, growing quietly, day after day. These are milk oysters. Unlike the wild oysters that used to grow naturally here, these begin their lives in a hatchery.
Nằm nhất lắm á, cái gì á.
Mấy cái này là hồng gỗ ta, hồng dây đâu ta?
Tiny baby oysters are carefully attached to old shells before being brought out here to grow naturally in the sea. Once they're in the water, nature does most of the work.
Nó là một cái bột chát tường của mình ấy. Cái chát tường của mình. Ông kia ông chưa có mà ông yếu quá. Anh chị bây giờ anh muốn học không em chỉ cho.
Nobody seems to be in a hurry here. Before talking about prices, they spend a few minutes catching up. Out here, There are no fixed prices. Every harvest is different, so every deal starts with a conversation.
Không vậy lên cái kiểu chở đi. Cho đặt chiếc cáp đi 200.000 như đặt cho nó chở vào đến nhà không? Sao?
The oysters feed on plankton carried by the tides, so farmers rarely need to feed them.
Bà thu á, bà thu bà chuyên lấy bà đó đó. Bà thu bà chỉ cho anh mà. Em cứ lên em tìm Nguyễn Văn Quân, thằng đó, thằng Quân tuộc cái mà nó. Hôm bữa anh lặn nháng như nó đó.
Anh đi với cái thằng con ông kia nó về nó phét nó kêu anh Hải đi ra.
It doesn't get much fresher than this. Straight from the sea, a quick rinse in salt water, and that's it. I think I'll let them enjoy this one first.
Sao mà xấu như trời, xấu đào xấu tướng luôn. Dạ.
Trời. Like cái nè, like cái nè. Anh không em. Bây giờ anh sống rồi mới nẻ đó.
Lấy luôn đừng cáp á. Có rồi.
Ê, mình săn cá nâu đi anh em.
Nhấc rửa lên đâu đâu có hết.
Cá nâu này mắc lắm á nha.
Nobody planned today's lunch, but I guess the fish had other plans. With today's deal finished, I thought we were heading back. But my brother had one more stop to make, his own oyster farm. Out here, everything is connected by water. The ride only takes a few minutes, but life feels completely different once you're surrounded by nothing but water. From out here, it's easy to forget the mainland even exists. No roads, no traffic lights, just floating homes and the sea.
Em cột được luôn.
Cột xong luôn mà chút ba rồi bỏ vô lúc lại.
Cho nó quay lại nha.
Cột đi, tự nó ghe nước trôi không cho cậy. Cậu không?
À, cột thì giống như cột cái gì đây là đúng không? Trong nhà mình ra.
A lot of people ask, what's it actually like to live out here? Well, this is probably the most honest answer. Life doesn't stop just because you're floating in the middle of the sea. Fresh vegetables are hard to come by out here, so whenever there's a little extra space, people grow their own. It might not look like much, but after eating seafood every day, a few fresh greens probably taste amazing. I'm still trying not to fall into the water, while these guys run around like they've lived here their whole lives, which they probably have.
Mạnh mẽ lên đi mới được nha.
Đi chưa? Nè, Phen cầm đi.
Lên đi, nhanh lên. Cái bèo ngoài kia lấy trước rồi, hai hàng bán được rồi. Tiệm tính 20 con ký thôi, chùm này không hai mấy con này nè. Đó, lúc mình bán á là con bán được con không, chứ không phải bán được hết thì vào.
Nhỏ xíu, hào này chắc còn phải 3-4 tháng đâu anh, đúng không?
2 tháng à? Con hào con cúm gì, một con cúm gì nó phá tầm một nửa chùm hào nữa.
Là bắt phải giết đó hả?
Lúc mà bữa đi cúm rồi. Ăn thấy không, chóc lỏng đâu, thấy không có thấy này nè, không có cúm thấy còn đều không? Ăn có cúm còn chưa được nữa nè.
Vui người ta coi nhiều lắm anh.
Cái kia mất mấy. Cao không? Thấy nó muốn 10 cái này nghe á.
Besides oysters, many families also keep a few fish right next to their homes. Not to sell, just for everyday meals. It doesn't get much fresher than this. Life moves a little slower out here, and honestly, I think that's part of its charm. Out here, everything happens on the water. Your home, your work, even visiting your neighbors. With everything finished, it was finally time to head back. The oysters had been loaded, the deals were done, and another ordinary day on the floating village was coming to an end. Out here, there's no rush, no traffic, no deadlines, just the sound of the engine and the sea all around you. Before going home, we took a short break on the boat. Nothing fancy, just some fresh fruit, a few laughs, and the sea breeze. Moments like this probably don't seem very special, unless you've spent the whole morning working out here. Sometimes, the best part of the day is simply sitting down together. Watching the shoreline slowly appear again, it's hard not to admire the people who call this place home. Day after day, they work with the tides, the weather, and the sea itself. It's a simple life, but it isn't an easy one. Today, I didn't just come here to see oysters. I got to see a way of life that most people never do. Thanks for coming with me. I'll see you in the next story.